guys, welcome to tonight's episode of the Trashman Matt Show. I'm your host, Trashman Matt. It has been a good night, and I apologize. I had to rush in here a little bit late, so forgive the mess behind me right there. Because that's the job of a trash man, was we make mess, apparently, according to some people. And I hope you guys like the new setup that we got in the background. A couple of pictures of my truck and the decal on the bottom here of the Trashman Matt Show. So those are basically, that's our new format we're going to be running with on this program. So today's top stories, let's get into it. We're going to start off obviously with Hurricane Milton. I'm going to bring up an image of where she's at right now. So this is Tropical Tidbits. It's currently a satellite image of where precisely Melissa, I don't know why I said Milton, but Melissa, excuse me. Hurricane Melissa is currently over the Bahamas. She is still a Category 1 hurricane at the moment. She just went through Cuba. I have no confirmation or numbers on that yet. However, I did see some reports from Jamaica that 8 fatalities have occurred with the storm. Haiti was reporting 40 fatalities associated with the storm as well. She is due to move northeast into the Atlantic, away from shore, not affecting the United States. However, she will impact the game of Bermuda before she begins a massive acceleration into the northern Atlantic, north Greenland. She may even hit Nova Scotia as part of a tropical storm at that point. Do got some numbers for you. She is the third largest hurricane in the Atlantic, according to what I read. Actually, she holds a record now for the driest hurricane. At least that is at the moment. And then from there, she also was the strongest hurricane to hit the island of Jamaica. Yeah, there's been some serious devastated pictures and everything else. I don't have any rights to show those to you because they asked I not do that, so I'm not going to. But yeah, that's what we got on our opening story with that part. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get you into some updates of what's going on. Additionally. So 1 second. Let's bring it up. So today the Federal Reserve has cut rates by, I think it's a fourth of a point. So that means interest rates for borrowing is going to get better. This is just breaking news as of the last 8 minutes. Apparently, the United States military has carried out another strike in the Pacific on a boat, killing 4 suspected drug boat, according to this information that has come through. And another thing that is interesting is the last 30 minutes, a judge's ruling in Florida says some of the gun laws are unconstitutional. Going to have to definitely follow that up for a point. Another one is OpenAI lays the groundwork for judgment up to $1 trillion. But now this is where it gets even better. Uber launches to launch robot taxi in San Francisco starting next year. What's up? Again, AI taking over, automatic drivers, and this is obviously affecting our job too now. So we're definitely going to be following that. This is the top stories. In addition to that, the government shutdown still continues for today, and we'll see if there's any type of layout. I do know that also President Trump did forgive millions of Americans' student loan debt, so that is a shocker given his position on the matter. So that is our immediate top stories, at least on the national front. Locally, it's been pretty quiet today. Temperatures were in the 80s, low 80s, and the job went pretty well. Everybody got done at a decent time. I actually went and helped. No complaints about that. But I did hear some information that you guys are going to be devastated to hear. The site I work for is going full electric by 2030. So my truck will be leaving us by 2030. And I'm going to be stuck in one of those Voltra. Yeah. Wonderful. So let's get into let's see what's going on here. I'm going to get into another main topic here. One moment, bear with me here. I'm trying to find where that page was at. Problem is I got keeps coming through. So I mean, how is everybody doing tonight? Hope you guys are doing well. Forgive me, like I said, I had to rush home to get this done, and I had to install a couple of new weather instruments on my property as well. Trump also has approved South Korea to build a nuclear-powered submarine with U.S. assistance. Yeah, more nuclear problems on the Korean Peninsula. Good idea. U.S. Supreme Court demands more information in the National Guard case regarding the deployment of National Guard troops on U.S. soil by President Trump. And that's basically that part is interesting. But, yeah. So far, it's other than the actual, the actual rate cut and the student loan forgiveness and everything, it's been pretty quiet. Nothing major popped off today. So far, it looks like the Israel-Gaza thing seems to be holding again after sporadic moments of violence have started. Tit for tat shooting at each other, but then they stop. So, again, that's something I'm just not surprised and everything else. Now, I did find more information that, honestly, let's talk about Elder Creek. The Elder Creek transfer station has had its floor redone. It's actually almost complete. They redid the tipping floor. I'll get a picture of that probably before they let the trucks come back in on it. And then obviously the electrical stations are being installed. I'm told 4 electric trucks are going to come in next month, but I won't hold my breath to it. And that's basically what I got. Like I said, today was pretty uneventful. I did have something funny happen to me. I'm stopped at a intersection. There's cars coming. The car behind me can't see anything, but blows a horn like I'm not going. When there's literally about 30 cars coming on the main road. Yeah. Again, people. And we're just there to get in your way. We're not out here doing a job or nothing. We're just here to be assholes and just, punk you guys and get in your way and just drive slow. These flashing lights, being hella loud and honking the horn, doing it. Really? Really, y'all? Really? Yeah. So, no, I just read that one. So, let's talk about California real quick. Prop 50 in particular. I mean, some of you guys are probably interested, the 3 of you that are watching there now. What is Prop 50? Well, if you listen to the ads, Prop 50 is defending democracy. But is it? Currently, right now, the California Constitution has it in a clause in it that the districts would be drawn by a civilian-led, nonpartisan committee. So it's an independent group that does this. That's not aligned with either Democrat nor Republican parties at all. Prop 50 will overturn that and will basically allow Sacramento, the capital, the politicians, majority Democrats, to realign these districts any way they see fit. Excuse me. And their argument here is solely based on what's going on in Texas and Missouri. Again, Texas and Missouri doesn't have anything in their constitution to say that they can't do this. And that's state constitution, not the federal constitution. This is basically a state per state thing. Each state has its own situation, and I think even Virginia has to have a vote as well. There's several other states that are like that as well to redo their constitution. That's what this is about. It's not about really. It's a tick for tat is what this boils down to. And the ads are like, stop Trump, stop this, stop the Republicans, stop. But you're doing the same thing. You're doing the complete same thing. This isn't preserving democracy. It's silencing it. Because you didn't like the answers. Now this is something I'm going to really shoot across the bow about Sacramento. Especially Governor Newsom. Prop 36 was passed by a majority vote last year. Prop 36 was a tougher on crime laws on retail theft and drug-related crimes. You had no funding for that. But magically you came up with $300 million for a special election. And millions of dollars to sue President Trump for every little thing that he did. But still you had no money to fund this. And then today, Well, actually, at the time of this episode, he got confronted by the local media about his own little project in the Capitol building. 3 years down, ballooning the entire price of public funds for a annex at the Capitol building. It's at the state capitol of California here in Sacramento. And yet you're making us think about a privately funded project at the White House. But you ain't really much to talk when you really haven't showed us the books on how much money you're spending or who the even contractor was or anything. And he got dumbfounded by the reporter. And many other reporters are also asking that same question. So this is kind of the situation with our local politics that is interesting. So now I'm going to go back to the gerrymandering. Basically what this Prop 50 does is it takes the more populated coastline area districts, which are predominantly Democrat, and merges them into the more northern central part of the state, which is the Sacramento Valley and the foothills and the Sierra and Cascades near Redding and stuff, and Chico. What it does is the populace isn't going to be able to match anything that the North Bay of San Francisco or along the coastline has in comparison to the population that's in the center part of the state. Even though the center part of the state of the northern part of the state is Republican by normal. There's maybe a city or two that are blue, but in that area of Northern California, you are seeing this. And this is what they are doing to redraw the district, is to basically eliminate those districts by using the populace of the coastline. Now, for those of you that are not from California to understand, is the majority of California's population is concentrated on the western side of the state, mostly along the coastal range and along the coast itself. San Francisco Bay, Los Angeles area, and San Diego are the biggest metros in California. Sacramento is the one off area, but it's still closer to the Bay, and it politically speaking leans left as well in comparison to the rest of the central and eastern side of the state that generally speaking leans right. And what these new districts do is they just completely rewrite that and basically silence people. I don't think it's right to do that. Even I don't agree with San Francisco. I don't agree with Los Angeles. They have a right to not be silenced. They have a right to vote the way they want to vote. And I think that's fair across the board on any part of the country. This is dangerous because of the situation that basically allows for one-party rule. One-party rule is not democracy. That's communism. Right, sufficient. First one to film it. Sackways, nice. Sorry, we got a little interruption there. That's $24.98. So you were a junior. Nice. So that's the political situation of Prop 50 where it's mostly everybody that I've seen is basically against it. I'm talking about farmer unions, police unions, cities, even cities in the Bay are against it. And right now, what I saw today was the numbers, at least from one of the polls. Again, take these as it says, 52-48 again, favoring the reorganization, which, again, when it comes to any type of vote in California, if the coastal area all votes the same, basically it's going to win out. Population differences is what matters there. So now we're going to talk about some interesting things that I've seen regarding California recently. This whole district thing is the big headline. We will do November 4th about that. We'll follow up on it, obviously, here on the Trashman Matt show to discuss that. Also, I'm going to talk about right now we're going to talk about the no food stamps, the no WIC or thing. There's still a possible that the government might get reopened before November 1st. I'm not holding my breath for it because, Congress seems to be doing the same tune over and over again. And I've been seeing a lot of rhetoric on there that says a lot of rhetoric online, a lot of people posting online, kind of fear mongering, saying they're going to start rioting, they're going to steal from other people and everything else. And then there's a lot of this broader trolling racism arguments. And again, that doesn't surprise me given the clientele. Now, waste resources, waste resources, yeah, it's, my day was good, no issues and everything else. And Sac Waste, Cal Waste rolling out in Sonora. Waste lost the contract there. Nice. I think Waste Management's kind of on the back pedal around here too, other than the getting the Stockton from Republic argument. Yeah. So now our next, so now let's talk about things that could, what could fix California? Well, the problem is we have to acknowledge there's a problem. Top three problems are cost of living, homelessness, and, well, San Francisco, I guess. We'll blame San Francisco. It's all San Francisco's fault. We'll just blame San Francisco. No, I'm kidding. But those are the two common conversations that I hear from people is homelessness and cost of living. Now, when I seen the reports and everything else that as a homeowner, all these different fees that you just have to do, like putting up a fence. You know, there's like literally like 3 different fees that you got to pay to put up a fence in the state of California. That is funny. And then there's just all these different regulations that really are nothing more than just money grabbing. Like, it has nothing to do with anything. The building code says how the buildings have to be built. So why do we have these application fees, regulatory fees, and all these other silly fees related to it? It's simple. Money laundering. That's what it is. That money goes into somebody's pocket. It doesn't get seen. $30 billion in the state budget has disappeared from the homeless situation. Obviously, that went into somebody's hush fund. If you haven't noticed that. Garbage mail trucks. Hello, welcome, welcome. So, the homeless issue can be fixed, but these people that are trying to like run for governor and be in political office, they talk about fixing it, but they don't want to fix it. It's an industrial complex. People are profiting off of these people suffering. There are three. Person that's been in seeing this up front and everything else, I can tell you there are 3 types of homeless people. One is your genuine homeless person that basically had something go wrong or in their life where they ended up homeless. They usually take their time, go through the programs, and get off the streets pretty quickly. That makes up about maybe 5% of the general homeless that I have witnessed here, at least in the local area. The second one is people that are just drifters. They just drift, like backpackers, and they hop on the train and and they just go from place to place. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, if that's how they want to live, that's how they want to live. I'm not going to judge them for that. And the third one is a person that is suffering from some type of substance or mental health abuse. And usually this kind of folds into all 3 for the smaller group of individuals. The homelessness population has to be addressed. We have to address the other underlying issues of homelessness. One obviously is affordability, but also is addiction and mental health services that are relatively expensive when these should be provided at no cost, in my opinion. I mean, I think healthcare is one of those things that, even though as myself I would speak that I'm against the for-profit nature of our healthcare system. That's just not right. Healthcare is healthcare. Like, obviously, if you want to get a cosmetic surgery, like you want to get abs or something, yeah, you got to pay for that. But basic medical should not be a problem in this country. This is the biggest country, the greatest superpower. This is supposed to be the greatest state. And we're held hostage by insurance companies, for-profit insurance companies. Not against that. And the same thing about public transit. I think public transit is one of those things. It's made up of mostly subsidies anyway, so where's the little fare that they get doesn't really go to anything. And the same thing about Amtrak. Amtrak's a federal funded train, and it doesn't really make much, doesn't make any fare money really like that. It doesn't have enough ridership. And so it's subsidized by the federal government too. So why not just, again, just make it a free service for people to use? No one has to use the damn train. They can. You don't have to use the damn train. You can still fly, still drive a car and everything else, but if it's there, it's free. You know, if you want to use it, and that would help. I think that would help a lot, especially the newer people coming out. But here's a big idea that can really help. My idea is a system that is set up to just pay people to go around picking up trash, like what we do, except like you literally walk around sweeping the streets. Why can't we pay people to do that? And we get a clean streets. We get a lot of people off the streets. We get a lot of people into these housing markets and everything else. And we can encourage, well, then that's then slashing the regulation fees too, and everything else, just cutting all that. That's all with a stroke of a pen. The governor can do that today if he wanted to. The regulations are not a voted thing. They're not a state assembly thing. This is a governor thing, at least according to what I read and my understanding of how this law works. So you can free up a lot of everything else. Yes, like street sweepers, yeah. So a lot of the problem I've noticed here isn't about California being overpriced. It's more of just mismanagement and people lining their pockets instead of fixing the problem. Shocker, right? So how can we fix that? Well, it requires a group effort, because these individuals obviously that want to do this, that want to continue working in this market where they're basically profiting off the other people suffering. And we're talking about elected leaders. We're talking about people in power. We're not talking about the corporate businessmen. Of course, the corporate businessman is going to try to profit off your sorrows, man. They've been doing that for thousands of years. They ain't going to stop doing that now. But we can work on the project together, but that requires everybody to stop hating each other first and understand that there's a problem. There are 40 million people in America, not America, but in California, at least according to the last census. That's not counting people that are not counted in the census. So probably that number goes about 45 to maybe 50 million people in California. If everybody grabbed a broom and just did their part together to clean up the trash and everything else, the state would be clean. I mean, that's just an example, right? An example right there of how simple this could be if we just got leadership that was able to not be playing political games, but actually interested in running the country or running the state in this particular matter. And yeah, and I've been talking with coworkers about it. They agree. A lot of people that are hardcore Republican people that I know even agree with the idea of healthcare. The for-profit healthcare system needs to go. Yeah, I saw that. And that's just something what it is. I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, we're talking about your basic checkups, make sure you're good. Your hospital, your emergency room visits shouldn't cost you anything. Obviously, you come in an ambulance, there's obviously an expense for that, the fuel, the 911 system and everything else. Yeah, you got to pay for that. But when it comes to your in-care profit, that should be something done through a tax thing. Like my idea, again, take it as you would be more of like, instead of paying health insurance, you pay in a health tax, which if you don't use it at the end of the year, when you do taxes and everything else, can come back on, can actually get your, basically in a refund from tax season for those of you that are older that understand how taxes work. That's something and everything else. And Adam, we're not doing no videos tonight. We're not going to be doing videos for a while. We're just doing basically, this basically is a podcast version of the show. We're not the video part won't be starting for a while because I still got a lot of other things, and I only have time to do about 30 minutes to an hour show basically right now. And so these are things I think that we can do to address certain issues with California, but it's getting everybody on the same page to recognize that there are more of us than there are them. And let's really start are we going to use our imagination to continue to cause problems and let these fear mongrels, let's call them what they are, continue to divide us? Or are we going to use our imagination to come together and solve the problems? I don't think anybody objects to the over ridiculous expensive healthcare system, or the cost of living in California is ridiculously high because of just overtaxation and overregulation. I think we can all agree with that. I mean, we may have different opinions on how to solve that problem, but those are the problems. I think we can agree on that. Like, the cost of living is ridiculous. Like, for example, and this is just an example here too, like gas, for example. Gas is about $4.50 a gallon, give or take, depending on what area you're at here in California. You know, in Missouri, gas is about $2.18 a gallon. Generally speaking, that's because of the population, reservoirs, and also the fuel tax. Now, California is sitting on a significant threshold of oil, and that's a revenue stream that we could use, but state leadership and propagandists don't want us tapping that oil. I mean, that's something we can sell. The state can sell to these companies and make significant money off it to drop the prices. And honestly, I'd strike a deal with them to help us build tiny homes for the homeless too, and stop funding these corrupted NGOs. But again, that's just me. But the problem still boils down to, well, people not willing to listen. And I'm going to start speaking on this. I'm going to try to reach out to people and everything else and try to get people's opinion about it. Try to get them to see what they agree to something like this. We're already paying a ridiculous amount in healthcare prices. So if there was a better premium price that you can, because you don't see that money back. Whenever you're paying healthcare now, you don't get it back. So there's a alternative is that you can actually, if you don't use it, you can get a refund in the beginning of the next tax cycle. Wouldn't that be, something that people would be interested in? I'm just saying. And we're a consumer society, so the moment we start cutting down the spending and letting people be able to have money, everybody's gonna start making money. They need to use CNG for more vehicles than just company vehicles. Yeah, and that's true, but again, California's trying to go electric, and the grid's not ready for that. The expenses aren't ready for that. Like, my yard it's been decided full electrification by 2030. So that is the interesting that's my perspective of that, and what I think that we can at least start having the conversation about it. It's not someone say it's communist, it's this and that. Yeah, well, but if it works, could it work? Maybe. Could it be exploited? Absolutely. Everything's exploitable. Is there flaws in the argument? Yes. It's just a conversation point. It's not in writing, in-depth brainstorming right now. So, Garland, welcome. So that's just the ideas about getting California. What's the favorite part about your ZR? I would say it's just the blade. I don't have to worry about anything getting jammed or anything else. It just swallows and throws everything back there. I was at a Halloween party. Nice. Garland, that's very nice. Halloween party. So. Garbage trucks, garbage mail trucks and buses. Yes, I agree with you. CNG is a better alternative than electric, 100%. That's why I'm driving a CNG truck and not an electric truck personally. And the whole process of doing it is it pollutes the atmosphere worse than CNG or hell even diesel. And that's something that it's very funny because it's just a scam in my opinion. The reason they want to go fully electric is they want to shut the power off when you don't comply. Again, corrupt leadership. Leadership out for themselves. The elite that are pushing this stuff. Because again, they're not there to serve you. They're there to serve themselves. And also that's the same thing about AI right now. Guess what? A lot of places are starting to do that too. Why do Elk Grove trucks and citrus heights trucks break down a lot? Some are just old. Some just have problems. That's about it. Everybody. The thing is, though, you gotta understand, we dump about anywhere between 700 to 1,200 cans a day, and that's 5 days a week. If you factor in all the miles that we actually travel, we probably do maybe 100 miles a week, if more, in these trucks. So they're taking a beating. And we have to remember, too, that people don't listen when it comes to don't overthrow your can. Don't do this. Don't do that. People stick their nose up in the air and say, don't tell me what to do. You're a trash man. What do you know? A monkey can do your job. And heck, your job's going to be replaced by AI. Well, so is yours. I had to say that to a customer because they were an HR assistant. It's like, girl, you're going to lose your job way before I do. Because your job is really just for people to come to complain to. They can fill that out in a chat book. And then the AI can follow up on the report itself. In fact, that's what's happening now on Amazon. That's what's happening now in Paramount. That's what's happening in a lot of places. Target too. A lot of these places are completely doing that. They're going full on AI to, at first it'll be the corporate jobs. Then it'll be customer service. And then eventually autonomous vehicles will be fully on the road to take over. McNillis is already experimenting with an AI arm. It's only a matter of time before they start doing a self-driving truck. In fact, I hear they are actually doing that. So that is what we have to look at. Man, yeah. It is very sad to see that. Very sad to see because, again, these are people's jobs. And it's basically going to come to a point where there's going to be only two classes. Everybody else on the bottom and the few hundred people on top that have control of everything. Just the way they want it. It's always been about. It's these elitist mentality thinking that they're better than you. And that you could look at that today across the board. And I love diesel trucks, especially for recycling. Yeah. And the thing is about, I'm going to point this out to you guys. You know, we actually have the technology now where diesel is actually really clean. The exhaust and everything else. And when you actually, the study confirmed this, that most trees in the city, for example, in the Sacramento area that I'm at, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of trees, different types of trees here. It used to be called the City of Trees. And yeah, it leads to a lot of allergies. I tell you, in the springtime, everybody's sneezing. But it actually consumes a lot of the exhaust that comes out of these trucks and cars, and it transfers it into oxygen. It's not that hard. And with our filtering technology that are implemented in diesel trucks these days, the clean diesel trucks, they are actually cleaner than the CNGs. Not many people know that. And it's not like now if you go to a different state, like for example, states that have less regulations and less requirements regarding it, they're not as, obviously they're still that few, but again, they don't have the population, so the population density plays a major factor. For example, when you go to Los Angeles is basically sitting on a desert, and it's next to the Mojave Desert. It's just, and that whole land and everything else doesn't really, it just contains the smog. It contains the pollution that comes out of the vehicles in general. Well, now you look up here in the northern part of the state, we're surrounded by forests. We're surrounded by, farmland and trees. So that same density of population, like for the Bay Area, doesn't it doesn't commute that. It doesn't just sit there and smolder. Every so often, when the wind's dead and it's like the wintertime or something, yeah, that can happen, and that's where air quality alerts get issued or whatever. But again, that's mostly related to cars than it is to diesel, because gasoline actually puts out a lot more exhaust fumes and everything else than diesel does. So that is something that, again, if we were really serious about helping the environment, we'd be planting more trees. We'd be going in and cleaning up the dead trees, tearing them out, and pruning the forest so they can stop these massive wildfires. These massive wildfires are contributing to mismanagement and just not doing anything to preserve this, and also people moving into these areas and not knowing nothing about how to protect their properties. And that's a problem. Now, again, that's basically our main part, that we are trying to do things that we don't comprehend. And that's a problem we have. Minnesota, welcome. Yeah, that's again because again you got a concentrated area allied. Uh, Basically, it's a bowl effect. So that's where all it does. Yes, we still have the new A rental. It's still in service right now. We'll see what happens with those trucks once these electrics next month show up. But yeah. So I'm gonna open the floor up. If you guys got some questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. Do know there is about a 20-second delay between me talking and me actually seeing the chat, so do bear that in mind. But if you guys got some questions, please go ahead and ask. Alright. Give you guys a minute to type out your questions if you have any. How long do you work daily? It varies from day to day because each route varies, and it varies from season to season on green waste. Because in like the summertime, I can work basically 8 to 10 hours a day, depending on which week it is. And during the wintertime, it can be 12 to 14 hours, depending on exactly how heavy it is. Do you still Are you still going to keep the Matty truck? Yes, I'm going to be keeping my truck for the foreseeable future, but eventually they will be phasing the CNGs out for electric. So, but that'll be by 2030, hopefully. How long is a daily shift for a residential helper? So, residential helpers that are, depending on what it is, we don't actually have them here that much because most of our equipment is ASL or automatic side load. But usually it's the same hours as the driver. You get done when you get done. That's kind of the name of the game in the industry. How is leaf season this year? Right now, we haven't had any storms or not serious storms or anything that could knock the leaves down. And temperatures have been sitting around the high 70s and low 80s at least for the rest of this week. So, leaf season right now it's going to start. It seems to be starting out pretty slow, but we'll see once we get if we get any storms or not. It's really going to see when we start getting the uptick in that. How many electric trucks do you guys have? Right now we have 5, but we're supposed to get 4 more next month. At least that's what they said. So, and that'll make it 9 trucks. And in total, I think we're going to have about 12 or 13. So, okay, how long have you worked for Republic Services? I've been with Republic for over 3 years, going on 4. And best garbage company I've worked for, at least at this division, is, let's see, is Elk Grove the city of trees? No, the Sacramento is the city of trees. And do people throw away green waste every day? Yes, people do throw away green waste. California has what is called organic waste too, so food waste is also thrown in with the green waste. So a lot of people do still do that too. And Elk Grove is more of a There's a working class side of town, but then there's also more richer side of town. They're very preppy and bougie about it, so they'll have all the cans out. While on the working class side of town, not so much. Now, how long was the shift do you know how long a shift is for a front load driver? About the same, about 12 to 14 hours, depending. At least out here, that varies from location as well. I operated a ZR last week, Minnesota. Nice. Yeah, ZRs are decent trucks, and I think that's kind of where the company's going with now. They seem to be with that. When is Elk Grove getting new rear loaders? That I do not know. We have not heard anything about that. They're like 8 years old. They're 8 years old. They'll probably get, well, generally speaking, rule of thumb is 10 years. So probably in the same, they're probably going to get by 2030, I would say. They'll probably have a new one. Because that seems to be the going thing right now. Minnesota, yes. So breakdowns, how they happen, depending on the breakdown. The truck, like for example, if I can still drive the truck and it's not in danger to anybody, I'll take the truck back and take another truck. Now, if it does happen, we kind of strategize. Like right now, because we have extra drivers, this actually helps because then if we can just get someone on the route, or someone can swap trucks with me and then deal with the truck that goes on. They are still, it varies from point to point. Do you have an old trucks in your yard? No, we don't have anything. What are they remodeling at LDQ Transfer again? The tipping floor was being remodeled and charging stations are being put in, and they're also hauling out some contaminated dirt, I guess. And that's what they're doing with that. What cab is better, auto car or Peterbilt? Depending on the body, like if it's a ZR or a Rapid Rail, I think auto cars are better because they're more spacious than the Peterbilt. The Peterbilts, you're kind of like, you sit kind of like this, like straight up like this, because the controls are just, but in an auto car, you can be more stretched out, and that's where it goes. What would happen if a bulky rear loader breaks down? Well, we have multiple extra rear loaders, and also Citrus can send one too if they needed to. Depends on the brake, Minnesota. If the arm breaks, that's usually a common occurrence with the truck. So if they break and they can fix it on the side, on the yard, they'll fix it and we'll go back out. If we gotta get a new truck, then we gotta take a new truck if it breaks down. Do you have how many neighborhoods do you do a day? Well, depending on the route, because I have a rural route on Tuesdays, I do, but neighborhoods probably 2 to 3 a day. And when we're talking about neighborhoods, we're talking about 20 inside circles and an outside area. And then I do gated communities too that are problem childs. Do you like the 320 or the 520? I'm actually a fan of the 520. I like the headlights. That's about it. I'm biased on that part. Do you think Maddie needs the hydraulic motor that runs? Possibly, yeah. So why were the old alley rear loaders scrapped so quickly? That's a management decision, Sackways. I cannot tell you. Minnesota, yeah, you come out here, I have no problem. I'm not the guy like. I'm pretty sure you guys saw. Hey, by the way, let's talk about that real quick. Did you guys see the video? What happened to the kid at Phoenix that had that unhinged driver go up on the curb and go after him with the truck? Because I'm not that type of driver. That is uncalled for. No. Everybody's allowed to film me. I'm in public doing my job. As long as you're not in the way, that's fine. I mean, I get filmed every day anyway from people showing the kids or people that were like, well, see what your driver did and everything else because they got nothing better to do. Like, well, if you didn't overflow your can and everything else, I wouldn't have made the mess. Yeah, binging garbage truck. Yeah. Yeah. Minnesota, I'm pretty sure you won't be in the way. What is the slowest running truck in your yard at this time with the arm? Which arm are we talking about? The ZR or wrap rail arm? But yeah, Minnesota, you're welcome. Like I said, you're welcome to, if you're out here, you're welcome to come film. Um, because if it's the ZR arm, I think the slowest right now is 97, which is on recycle. Well, it's down right now because something happened. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Yeah, for the slowest truck I think there is, it's going to be probably 2450 or 2457, which are both auto car trucks, auto car rapid rail trucks. And have I ever driven a front loader? Yeah, I was a front loader for almost 2 years. One, basically, I did it for waste management, then local Atlas disposal, and then I did it for Republic before I went to Resi. Yes, there is a thumb wheel to use the claw. When will they start scrapping the wrapper rails, or are they getting refurbished? So far, two have been refurbished. I'm not sure if they're going to be scrapped. I don't know exactly how much they're going to scrap, but I know that eventually they're going to start taking them out of service. East Coast, what's up? Yeah. I'm hearing stories that we're going to be getting some trucks from the Stockton fleet once their contract switches to waste management, but I don't know if that's actually happening or not. It's just a rumor right now. And I'm told they're electric, but we'll see. Does 2858 run? Yes. It's being used by a relief driver in Citrus right now. It comes down to Grove sometimes to help us out, but I haven't seen it. Do you have any old BFI trucks in your yard? Not anymore. They've been decommissioned already. East Coast, I agree with you. Yeah, man, our whole fleet's going to be electric by 2030. So, hmm. Well, at least for the next week, it looks pretty quiet on the weather model, except for a small system in central Texas that goes through the coast or the south. But I don't, there's nothing that's yeah. Weather-wise, it is not a Vulture ZR. Nice. That's exactly what exclusively our trucks are. At least that's what I'm told. Um, yeah, they were scrapped. Sorry, Jameson, I didn't see. Garland, I didn't see your comment. Yeah, they were all scrapped. What's the best garbage deal pack charcoal? Python. Uh, well, when I use the Python and everything else, that thing pissed me off because I could not figure it out. So, but then again, I was only in the truck for 2 days when I was using it. And the Heli 700, the Heil 700, not sure. That's a good question. I haven't used that truck like that, so. Are there any Allied Waste roll-off trucks? There's still one or two of them that are around that are using reserve, but I can't tell you exactly if they when they go out or how they or what they do. What's the fastest truck in your yard? Um, Probably 90. 90 is pretty quick, and 92 is also pretty quick. Do you have any crawler cans in your yard? Not anymore. We used to until last year, until we changed them out last year after we lost our Rancho contract to Atlas. So, but yeah, I mean, I got older videos of me driving a Corrado 2471. This is when I first started the channel, so if you go look back about 2 years ago or the beginning of the channel, you'll see it. Also, I used a very crappy Chinese-made camera, so it wasn't that good. I mean, yeah, there's still some miscellaneous BFI and allied waste stuff around in our yard. Probably won't be for much longer, though. The BFI one, I think, is a tool or something. It's like they store tools or something. I don't know. I don't stick my head in there to find out because I don't want to get in front of us. What's the newest one? 2498 is the newest one. Athens Services, welcome. What will happen if Atlas gets Citrus Heights? Well, what will happen to the trucks there? Probably either they'll get sent somewhere else or they'll be scrapped. East Coast, yeah, I agree with you on that. That's the problem is there any, I personally haven't seen any, but everything else. Do I like my truck? Yeah. I love my truck, honestly. Other than her little hiccup with the arm itself, which this just keeps, the roller itself keeps breaking, which is the bolts and stuff. I'm not sure what's up with that. She works fine. She drives fine. She's fast. And I can pack anything that I can throw back there. I can throw a whole tree trunk back there and it pushes it back like it's nothing. So I have no complaints on my truck. It's just irritating that she keeps breaking. What's the best truck you drove? Or drive. The best truck, and I know I'm going to get heat for this, was the Econoc SD. The reason why is the ZR body, same thing, it pushed everything out and everything else. And the whole thing is because of visibility. The mirrors were awesome. I could see everything around the side of the truck. The visibility was great, and the just the air ride on it and everything else. That truck was the best truck I drove across the board. When Atlas is going after, of course they are. But we're doing our best to retain it. Just like we're going to go after West Sac. Probably Davis too. Probably Woodland, and I know we're going after Marysville and Yuba City. Everybody goes after everything. So if Atlas wasn't going after it, I'd be like, why? Sac Waste. Of course they're going after it. When will your hydraulic motor be replaced? It's already been replaced. I've been driving the truck the last 2 days. They're working on... Right now, me and the mechanic are just trying to figure out why it keeps doing that. Because we don't know why it's doing that. Because the bolts usually they last about 6 months, 6 to 8 months. Because again, it's just the arm and anything else. Has a bin ever broken? Have you ever broken a bin? Why the bin was in the arm? Yes. I've actually had it break and get stuck in the air. Sac Waste, I know right now they haven't put it out to bid. They're having the vote next month to decide if they want to stay in-house with us or they want to put it out for bid with somebody else. But if it does go out for bid, usually what's going to happen is you're going to have Cal Waste, you're going to have Ecology, you're going to have Waste Management. Hell, Waste Connections are probably going to get involved in too and everything else. And and then obviously Atlas isn't going to be in the mix. Those are the 5 other competitors that I see being part of it. Manufacturer defaults. That's possible. I mean, that's what we're trying to figure out, is it manufactured up and everything else. What temperature is in Dallas right now? 1 second. Give me a minute. Right now... Right now, the temperature is 57 degrees. You're telling me in Dallas, where you guys see snow from time to time, 57 degrees is cold to you? Stockton, yes. Not all of Stockton has went, but I think 70% of their stuff went to waste. Yeah. How long did it take for you to adjust to driving on the right side when you first started? I feel like you'll get the hang of it after 2 weeks. Well, I actually cheated because years ago, long time ago, I worked for the post office, so it's not my first time driving on the right hand side, and I've driven on the right hand side in other vehicles. So, that one, stock waste, I'm not sure they're gonna do that or not. How many garbage cans are coming from your yard? Thousands. I mean, we use a lot of different cans for different reasons. Yeah, we normally replace the lid. The lid gets ripped off. All we do is just report it in, and they usually have one on the truck the next day. Elk Grove's bougie. Citrus Heights, I think, isn't. See, to explain the two side. So, have I ever driven roll off? Actually, I've driven a roll off truck, but I never picked up a bin, and that was for Atlas. Part of the job getting hired, I had to drive the truck around for him. What time do you get done with the route? 3 o'clock, give or take. It varies between week to week, and it varies between what's happening. Leaf season, it'll be more like 4, but depending on how many loads I have to do. Like for example, Thursday, if I got to do 3 loads on Thursday because of the traveling distance, I'm looking at a 5 o'clock completing my route and probably off the clock by 6 if I don't get help. Now, same thing for Friday. Friday's about the same at that, and then Tuesday, on the other hand, is I can get away with 4 loads and I still. That's fine. Yeah. No. Sackways. Citrus Heights has its own cans, so unless they decide to do um, a rollout themselves, no, they're gonna stick to the same carts. Same thing with Elk Grove. These are Elk Grove cans. The only thing that there's the Republic is literally the trucks. So no rollouts happens. Side loads suck though. Depends on the side load. I agree that Heil is the worst one. Let's see. Thing going on in the Pacific. Have you ever done townhouses? I do them all the time. I have multiple townhouses on my route. Monday and also Friday. My route's actually weird. I do townhouses. I do neighborhoods. I do mansions. I do ranches and farmland. Yeah, my route is a very mixed route, and actually, that's probably one of the reasons why I enjoy my route. And a fun fact. You know how? So in this job, it's like everybody wants to go to trash because trash is the cushy route and everything else. And green waste crew, that's in Elk Grove, that's me and everything else, has nobody wants to go to trash. Why? Because we're content with our routes. We enjoy our routes. We actually are completely content with it. Have you ever gotten into conflict with customers? All the time. But I'm obviously professional about it. Again, I just know how to be professional. I'm not going to sit here and do something to lose my job because at the end of the day, I'm the one wearing a uniform, not them. All they can do is, I mean, what? I'll defend myself if someone attacks me, but I'm not going to do anything else to provoke them anyway. Have you ever gone down narrow alleyways or rear loaders to do that? I honestly, we use our trucks to go down narrow alleyways. Out here, at least in the Sacramento area, nobody uses rear loaders, for the exception of the city of Sacramento. They use one in downtown Sacramento because of the alleys and everything else and one-way streets, but that's about it. Richmond Auto Reaches, or what if Elk Grove got Anaheim Rapid Rails? I think they have two Anaheim Rapid Rails. 2973 and 2981 were from that. Richmond Auto Reaches and everything else. I know somebody would be happy to see those show up. I'm most likely to be at 30. I mean, up to you if you want to take it. If you know all the stuff and everything else, and you want to make the money, but understand, rear loader, relief driver, you're just company bitch. You're gonna be doing all whatever they want you to do. I mean, not trying to be mean about it, but that's what we call it. How bouncy on the rapid rails? Basically like being on a horse trying to buck you off. And that's about how the rapid rails are. In Boise, your rear loaders do the alleyways. Nice. Do you know the city of Sacramento had a rear loader for alleys? Yes, I knew it. I seen it all the time when I was doing front loading downtown. It's always going down there. It does it does the toters and also commercial bins, low 2-yard commercial bins. Oh, they're Long Beach. Okay, whatever. They obviously came from the same area. Have you ever done recycle and trash before? Yes, I've helped out on recycle and trash numerous times. Have you ever driven a front loader before? Yes. Yeah, I actually was in front load for almost 2 years between 3 different companies. Waste Management, Atlas Disposal, and Republic Services. Yeah. It was alright, but the starting at 3 a.m. stuff killed me. And that's basically it. It's like, Waste Management, I'm going to tell you the difference in the 3. Waste Management, they kill their drivers. You're a number to them, and that's all they care about. Atlas, if you ain't part of the clique, you ain't getting along. And Republic is more of, I was able to get along with everything. Wait, what? Breaking news. President Trump, in his wisdom, decided to order nuclear testing again. He's going to start testing nuclear weapons. Well, I told him I'd think about it. Yeah. That's the problem, though, is when you're filling in, that's exactly what's going to happen, especially on front load. I agree with you on that. Have I ever driven a rear loader on green waste? No, but I did manual rear loader trash for Waste Management. And got a funny story with that. That's what it says. That's coming out of the Associated Press, Garland. And I guess China and Russia are also going to be doing that. If the drivers that are hired to do backload are not, there's not 21 Minnesota. I believe it's 21. It varies from state to state, but yeah, 21. Have you dumped everything? Yeah, I've made a mistake. So there are times when you just get in a rhythm and you're going along and everything else, and I made the mistake of. So I'm gonna rat on myself, but you know what? It's okay because we make mistakes. So what happened is I had there's just 5 houses in this cul-de-sac, right? I had recycle and green waste side by side, and I was just in the rhythm, not even thinking, picking up cans, and suddenly I looked in the camera and I saw a blue can, and I'm like, whoops. Put it back down. Yeah. It happens sometimes. You just get in the rhythm and you're just moving along and you just stop and grab a can. Or when you go to help on a different commodity and then you grab the can of commodity that you're on. Again, that happens too. What was Nevada County? I worked in Nevada County and I also worked in Woodland. Nevada County was in the foothills. I had to deal with snow. I had to chain up and do all the things. I got charged by a bear. I had got slapped in the face by dog poop when I was crushing it. And in Woodland, I got a homeless person attacked me and I had to fight him off. So yeah. Have you ever failed on a karate yet? Depending on the fail, yeah. Thank you, Solid. You have a good night. So yeah. And have you ever failed? No, the karate can. Going back to that. Yeah, karate cans. So I didn't have this fail happen to me, but I saw it happen. So yeah, I really do appreciate the $20, Solid. So he was going to dump his can, and suddenly the arm broke and just missed the cab, falling down on the cab. Hold on a second, you guys. Sorry, guys. Pesty ass nephew. Have you ever had a hydraulic line burst? Yes, multiple times. As a random guy, random question is the car. I don't know. You gotta talk to him. Yeah, sack waste. I would talk to them directly because I can't answer that question. I'm not going to incriminate myself or my coworkers. Have you? I remember correctly. You had to be 18 to be a helper and 21 to be a driver of the public services. Yeah, I believe that's correct. At least that might vary depending on how big the shop is. Have you seen a Republic Service Yard in Utah? I haven't personally looked, but let's Google it real quick. So we'll Google it real quick and see if there's anything in Utah. 1 second. Yes, there is 2 yards. There is one in Salt Lake City and one near American Fork, Pleasant Grove. That looks like a transfer station. Yeah, 1 second, you guys. I'll bring it up for you. So this is the one in the Pleasant Grove, Utah. Obviously, it looks like we got a side loader there, and we have a front loader. That's definitely a high all. I can tell by the body. And then the second one on question was in Salt Lake City, up here. There it is. Public Services of Salt Lake City. Got quite a few side loaders. Got a roll-off truck. That might be it. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, we have... That's a front loader that's cab up. A lot of roll-off trucks. Yeah. So there are a couple of them. Sack waste, I've actually done cart delivery, helping out on that. If a truck's break down, do you have to sub the route that the driver's doing? Yes. We usually go help our partners when that happens. If somebody breaks down and we don't have a relief driver available to go help them, we actually do that. Is there one in Oregon? Let me check. And yes, there is one there. It just popped up. Let me see what it is, though. It is definitely a Republic Services yard. So we got a couple of roll-off containers. It looks like a front load. And that's definitely a mechanic truck. A lot of bins. Another Heil. Yeah, so there is one here. It's that's so in comparison to the town, it's right there what you were asking. So let's see what else we got. Have you ever been on a recycle route before? Yes, I've done recycle multiple times, helping and doing other things. And let's see. Last I checked, there were 3 yards. Matt, look at Garland sanitation yard. Let me look at. That's your closest yard. Okay. Look at Garland sanitation yard. Okay, hold on. I gotta get over to Texas first. 1 second. So Garland wants us to look at Garland sanitation yard. Yeah, I see it. Basically, it's a transfer station, what it looks like. Is this it? Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Minnesota trucks, we'll look at that in a second. I'm just going to verify on this report. Hold on, we'll look at Eden Prairie. Well, right next to the airport, huh? Oh, we got actually a weekend picture here because everything's lined up. Let's get a good look at this now. Let's see, what do we got here? We got definitely some front load and looks like rear loaders. Definitely some roll off trucks. This picture's hard to make out though. Looks like those might be side loaders. You guys got a mixed fleet, doesn't it? Alright, we'll go to Phoenix Yard next. Phoenix is actually Republic Services headquarters, so Phoenix Republic Services. Looks like everybody is out and about, but it's pretty small. A lot of roll-off containers. I don't see anything. Looks like a scale. Yep, there's a scale there. Yeah, I see what you do. Come around here, get on the scale this way, and then you go dump into the transfer station there. And this lone dirty ass front loader. Well, alright, so we looked at the Phoenix yard. We will take a look at Your favorite company is BFI. Yeah, BFI was, they had some nice trucks and everything else, but what I heard from drivers that actually worked for them, it actually sucked. Like, you couldn't make a left-hand turn in the right seat. You had to jump over to the left seat. Where's Boise at? Boise. Found it. Services Boise. There's actually quite a few Republic Services Boise. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, that's the transfer station. Public Services Recycling, Public Services Boise. Here we go. Let's check this one out. Alright. Found it. Found the yard. For Boise. We're on Buckeye Road. Yeah, we'll take a look at that one in a minute. A lot of side loaders. These look like they're all McNillis bodies. Oh look, it's electric. You can just tell by the charging. Look at the chargers. So that's an electric. That hopper's loaded. More side loaders roll off. Nice. Rear loaders, and looks like we got some front loaders over here. Yeah. Definitely looking good little yard. So now we want to go back to Buckeye. Okay. Lower Buckeye in Phoenix. So we'll go back to Phoenix real quick and we'll check that out real quick before we call it a night, y'all. Alright, found it. Lower Buckeye. Hello, boys. What we got here? Republic Services, Phoenix, and Lower Buckeye. Alright, we got ourselves a large can count. Oh, that's a Packer. Okay. Very interesting. That is very loaded front load equipment. Toters, nice. More Packers, so let's get in. That's definitely looks like ZRs. Yeah, those are all ZRs. Nice. Rear loaders with tippers on them. Looks like front load is here. Roll off trucks. More front load and roll off trucks. Shop vehicles, yeah. This is in Phoenix. What was the garbage trucks look so often? Yeah, they did look actually really cool. At least from the... what is that? Judging by the design, that's probably an auto reach. Again, that's just looking at a top view though. So yeah, definitely good, y'all. Yeah. So another point, what I did here too, I guess our leadership in the corporate part of the is changing, obviously, from the little spat with Teamsters over the time. And actually, you know, and I do have some updates on that real quick before we close. So yeah, Teamster itself did basically work out a new contract and everything else, but apparently they're losing a lot of their shops. Like a lot of their shops now. They're going to competitors. So in the end, they're basically losing because obviously a competitor can push a union out. At least that's my understanding. Obviously that varies from state to state. So in the end, they got what they wanted, but they lost the war. Republic is still going strong, and as far as I know, they have not lost anything significant. Like they took a little bite in July and August when this was going on, but now it seems like everything is back to at least the main part. So, and apparently the Teamster Union has done this across the board with FedEx and other carriers as well. So, yeah. And by the way, Republic Service is expanding in Canada. We have multiple, missing a lot more Canadian related stuff in our information, which is cool. I mean, why not? As far as I'm concerned, we can go to Mexico too. We'll take over the world, make it blue, solve all the world problem that way. No, I'm kidding. So, okay, that's definitely going to wrap up tonight's show. I'd like to thank everybody that did come and attend and shared in the Q&A and also the reports from the news. Again, we'll be back on tomorrow, hopefully at 6 o'clock. Again, we might start a little late depending on how the route goes. And obviously, if something crazy happens, I'll let you guys know. So, and we'll obviously keep up with Hurricane Melissa. She's still over the Bahamas, Category 1 right now. She just went through Cuba. Again, topic of that is 40 are dead in Haiti and 8 are dead in Jamaica as of right now. And there is some significant damage reports online that I cannot share and everything else. But all right, guys, thanks for joining. I am Trashman Matt. We will see you guys tomorrow.